Thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of Rick's Garage. I actually make these videos for my kids so they can see someday how to do some basic repairs. And let's get started. I'm working on my son's 2019 Ford Fiesta ST. It has four-wheel disc brakes, and he was hearing some grinding, so I was able to go online onto eBay and actually find a company here, right here in Detroit, Axle, located in Detroit, Michigan, that sells aftermarket parts. So I went on and I purchased a front and rear brake kit for this particular vehicle, which is different than the standard Fiesta. And it was shipped to me overnight. Very inexpensive, but great quality. I'm really looking forward to working with it. I'll let you know what my thoughts are after the video. But I have front and rear rotors as well as pads, and within the kit it comes with the grease and the clips and everything. So really looking forward to taking this one on and provide some information for my children in the future. Thanks for tuning in. Just matching up the Detroit axle kit. The rear rotors look to be exact in height and diameter. So far so good. I've just removed the passenger rear wheel and give you a shot at what the brakes look like now. Get the parking brake assembly tied to the caliper. So what I'll do is I'll start with taking this bracket bolt out. Then I'll remove the caliper bolts or the pins, and then be able to get the caliper off, pull the pads, pull the rotor, pull the bracket, and put it all back together again. I'll put you back on as we go through this. I'm at the point in which I have the caliper bolts out as well as the bracket bolts. I'm going to show you that piston there, how it has the four little slots. There's actually a special tool that's made, and you can rent that from O'Reilly's or one of your parts stores for free. And it's actually used like a spanner wrench to put that caliper piston back in to the caliper so you'd have clearance for the new pads. So we'll get this taken apart. I did want to show you this bracket, and pads are pretty worn. You could see the depth of the wear there. So it's good that we're getting into this. We were getting some grinding noises, so yeah, look at that back pad. Damage to the rotor. All right, we'll put it back together. It's always after, when you do the inspection, you found out where the grinding noise came from. You can see there's no brake pad material left, and the rears actually got down to the rivets, which is surprising. The fronts were never that bad. So must have had a case of what my brother calls lot rot for this vehicle sitting, and the rear brakes not being used as much. So anyway, there's your noise problem. I have the rotor installed. One thing I like to do is just hand tighten the lug nuts back on, squares everything up, allows me to put the bracket with the pads on. You can see I've got them greased up pretty good. Not too much. It looks like a lot with the color, but just a thin coat. I'll put some on the back or the face of that piston as well, and then we'll get everything mounted up. But that's my little tip for myself, is just to hold it on with some lug nuts and make sure everything's nice and square. As I'm putting on the caliper bolts, you have to hold the nut with a 15mm wrench and tighten the back with a 13mm ratchet. And you do that on the top and on the bottom, and then you're good to go. I didn't mention earlier that I actually took the cap off the master cylinder Just to allow extra fluid to weep out, I put a couple paper towels underneath it, because you will have excess fluid if you've added fluid in the past. So just makes it a little easier to push it out. To wrap this video up, I've got everything back installed, do an inspection, make sure we've got everything in, put the hose bracket back on, and was able to pump the brakes up. Didn't take much. Put the emergency brake on. It's holding great. So we're good to go. Thanks for watching. These are the parts from Detroit Axle that I used for the 2019 Ford Fiesta ST with four-wheel disc brakes. Definitely premium kit. One kit was purchased on eBay for the entire vehicle. Very, very affordable. And you can see the part numbers here. This is for the rear. The pads were P886 and rotors were R54095. And then the front rotors, P1730 on the pads. And the rotors are R800099. Very good kit. It came with the grease, and just very impressed with the delivery. Was next day for me here in Detroit area, and the parts fit perfectly, direct matchup, and I couldn't be more thrilled. Thank you, Detroit Axle.